We have a synergy, I think, between the two organizations, World Leadership School and what school could be. And I think you and I have been talking a lot about the idea of purpose recently, and maybe to kind of set that up and to share a little bit about how what school could be is thinking about purpose. I got to start with the acronym PEAK. I think we connected around the fact that for me, I have a hesitance with acronyms or alliterations in education. I often feel like publishers use them to make money off of educators, and they're rarely I find them rarely helpful. We have one. We have Peak, and I maybe humbly say that I think it actually works really, really well. I actually wanted to, before we do this, maybe set the scene a little bit for what school could be and how what school could be thinks about specifically the idea of purpose, but purpose within this framework of peak principles of powerful learning. So for what school could be, peak principles of powerful learning start with the P, which is purpose. And the way we think about purpose is students believe in the importance of their work. And I guess for us, that students believing in is a really critical piece. I often work with teachers in the capacity of teaching graduate schools or working in schools on curriculum or units, and thinking about things like essential questions and how it's easy to engineer an essential question. It's easy to engineer purpose from an adult perspective, but it's more challenging. And I think we feel that what school could be more powerful when students actually have that sense of belief of the importance of their work. The E in PEAK is essential skills and mindsets. Learning experiences that foster competencies that are essential to students as adults, or even in just the world today, the world, the world that is around them. Competencies like creative problem solving, critical analysis, communication, collaboration, citizenship, character. The A is another one really important to me, is agency. Friend of World Leadership School and friend of what school could be, Jennifer Klein and I talk about agency using the term protagonism, with students as the main character of their own education. The A here in agency means students create their learning experiences, set their own goals, manage their own progress, and evaluate their own work. And then the K being deep retained knowledge, the K for knowledge, where students develop real mastery of topics they study, and they can apply that knowledge, ask thoughtful questions about it, and then teach it to others. So that impact or application. But for us, what school could be, that entry point into PEAK, the entry point is purpose. And just been really grateful for the partnership with World Leadership School to explore more profoundly the idea of purpose.
Yeah. So, purpose is a trending term. It's being used by superintendents, school principals, even the head of the National Association of Independent Schools. And it's a confusing term for a lot of people because it has a lot of different connotations from the health and wellness industry, different religious movements. The purpose that we talk about at World Leadership School is from Stanford Center on Adolescence. And its purpose is a stable intention that is meaningful to self and beneficial to the world. So to break that down, although how we spend our time and energy may change, scientists believe that there is a stable thread that runs throughout our life. And essentially the stable thread is about meaning on the inside that connects to beneficial or consequential action on the outside. That's it. Meaning on the inside, action on the outside. Now, teachers invariably have a deep sense of purpose, but the last 4 years of disruption have pushed educators into deep survival mode. So deep that we have often become disconnected rather, from why we teach. So, I think this disconnection is the main reason, Kapono, why we're seeing so much burnout and teachers leaving the profession. And at World Leadership School, we have a process that helps teachers reconnect with their why, with their bodies, and who they are and how they bring who they are to how they teach. And that's a powerful experience for teachers.
Listening to you kind of talk about the definition that you draw from for your purpose work, purpose learning work, it makes me draw a lot of connections to the entire PEAK framework. with a meaning on the inside and impact or action on the outside.
Yeah.
Looking at that, students believing in the importance being that peak, the P part of the peak, purpose being really the internal part that you've described, and then the agency and the application inferred on the deep retained knowledge being that impact side of it. So I see a lot of resonance between the entire peak framework that What School Could Be works out of, as well as connected to the definition of purpose learning that World Leadership School is using.
Yeah. So, for purpose, there is this sort of individual journey towards purpose that each human makes. And then there's the journey towards purpose that schools make, which is much more like an expedition with a lot of different moving parts. So at World Leadership School, we've developed a framework that we call purpose learning, which is this idea that learning has to be more than thinking. Purposeful learning combines thinking with feeling and doing. And we imagine it as three concentric circles, and where they intersect is where students have the greatest chance of connecting with the purpose in learning and purpose in themselves. So, to break down what those three domains look like at purpose-driven schools, a lot of purpose-driven schools start from a place of feeling. So helping students develop a deep sense of who they are, what their emotions are, how they manage those emotions, how they see others with empathy and respect. What are those natural gifts that each of us have? What is that golden part of each student? And maybe even by the end of high school, sort of, what's my purpose? What's my thread, right? The doing piece is about taking, what I know and who I am and applying it to something out in the world. So this is engaging with diverse communities, project-based learning, making and creating, etc. So thinking, feeling, and doing.